Number 10. Sonic weapons designed for crowd control. It's well known that loud noises can cause extreme pain and hearing loss, but it wasn't until very recently that these noises became fully weaponized. The US government has been using a powerful device for quite some time now called the Long Range Acoustic Device, LRAD. It was originally developed in order to project commands over extremely long distances, especially out at sea. LRADs were also used on the ocean to deter piracy. Number 9. Laser weapons designed to blind people and potentially sicken them. Perhaps the least threatening weapon being field-tested, the Taser laser is supposed to emit a green light that can temporarily blind a suspect without any permanent negative effects on the body. However, while it may sound fairly benign, it can supposedly make the target feel disoriented, confused, and even nauseous. Worse yet, even if you're only blinded by the light for a short time, the purveyors of this device claim that the effects can stay with you for hours afterward. Number 8. An actual heat ray for dispersing crowds. The active denial system sounds like something straight out of a comic book. This sci-fi weapon is a heat ray, and while that may seem utterly ridiculous, the truth is that the US military has been carefully developing this device for many years now. The heat ray was developed for riot control purposes, and US officials are incredibly proud of their accomplishment. Number 7. A taser shotgun for when a regular taser just isn't enough. Tasers are one of the most controversial weapons in existence. And for good reason. While they are designed to be non-lethal, there are plenty of instances where tasers have played lethal tricks on people's nervous systems, ending their lives prematurely. For a device that is supposed to be a safer alternative to guns, this is a bit of a problem. Number 6. The military has seriously considered a weapon for drugging mobs. Early in the 2000s, the Russian government used a mysterious gas in an extreme hostage situation, a scenario where many lives were at stake. Since the standoff involved a rebel group, many people questioned whether the situation was a police matter or a matter of warfare. The gas caused the death of over 100 hostages, and Russians refused to reveal what kind it was. They simply claim it was some form of anesthetic, a kind generally used for surgery. Number 5. Water cannons that paint you for future arrest. In the United States, water cannons have a rather infamous past that causes law enforcement to shy away from them, even in favor of more brutal methods. Why? Well, during the 1960s, the most common weapons used to disperse civil rights protesters were giant water cannons, and often enormous dogs as well. Number 4. Biological weapons have been tested on a massive scale against US citizens. When many people think of the US government, they remember its track record of doing morally reprehensible things to other countries. However, most people think American officials would stop short at doing terrible things to their own people. But the truth is that the US government has performed potentially dangerous biological weapons tests on its own citizens, without any intention of ever telling them about it. Number 3. Israel uses skunk gun in attempts to disperse Palestinian protesters. While some police forces and armies like to use pain, physical discomfort, or similar assaults on the senses, the Israelis decided to try something a bit more original. During the tense standoffs that often ensued due to the controversial situation in the West Bank, the Israeli military has taken to fending off Palestinian protesters by using gigantic water cannons with a much different function than you would expect. Number 2. Pepper spray drones for dispersing unruly crowds. As technologically advanced weapons cause warfare to become increasingly digital and less personal, instances of lining up on the battlefield are extremely rare. Many engagements are performed without getting close to the enemy. This is a perfectly logical progression of warfare. After all, the most valuable resources are your troops, and fighting remotely will always leave them in a safer position. Thus, drones are an incredibly valuable asset. Number 1. U.S. military working on an anti-vehicle sticky foam gun. Back in the 1990s, during a Marine deployment in Somalia, the U.S. government decided that now was the time to test one of their new weapons. It was not designed to kill the enemy. Instead, it was created to slow them down. The device fired a projectile sticky foam, and while the Marines used it during their retreat in Somalia, reports of its effectiveness were overall rather poor.